The life of an LGBT person is fraught with risk. Homophobia, threats to livelihood, threat of physical harm. It makes sense then that many LGBT people find safe spaces online. But these spaces also have their own risk. My name is Aritopo, and on today's episode of Untold Facts, we're going to explore digital safe spaces, we're going to explore the concept of digital security, and provide practical conversations about how we can keep ourselves safe online. In 2018, there were over 200 reported hate crimes against LGBT people in Nigeria. Now, these were crimes carried out by fellow citizens, individuals who felt empowered to carry out acts of hate against another human being simply because of their sexuality.
They came down from the bus with guns and they had their uniform. So they asked me to bring out my ID card, which I did. And one of them said I was looking like a lady in my ID card.
I didn't remember to be scared. I just pictured the end. I tried to imagine how this tragedy was already going to play out.
So the boy was trying to escape, but it was too late. They dragged him back, they started beating him, everything. At the end of the day, I don't know where they take him to.
Now, there's certain fundamental rights that every Nigerian citizen is entitled to. The right to privacy, the right to life, the right to freedom of association and assembly. Actually, hold that. Because LGBT people in Nigeria have that last right, the right of freedom to assembly and association, severely limited.
Is there ways in which we use legal structures and violence and oppression to determine someone's ability to live fully?
I think this is why we're here, to increase people's knowledge of their rights.
So I'm very happy to know that the statistics, the data is showing that perceptions are changing, that people are becoming more aware of the real life implications of these laws. Because I think when people don't understand that these laws affect people on a day-to-day basis, then they're less likely to care. So I'm really happy.
Change is coming. It's slow. It's taking a while, but it will surely come.
None of us is free until all of us are free. This is how we can have a more inclusive and a more diverse society. My name is Aritopo. Thank you for watching. I have two incredible guests with me, both security experts. Let me start with Sophina. Sophina Kio-Lawson. You're a researcher, cybersecurity expert. And Sophina collaborated with the Co-Creation Hub on a journal or a guide called Safe Online. Yeah. And then we have Ikwueme, who is also a holistic security trainer. And Oma provides security support for groups, for organizations, for communities in Nigeria and around the region. Yeah. So thank you both for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Did you guys rehearse that?
No.
Holistic security. I was very interested, Oma, at that tag, holistic security. What does holistic security mean, especially within the context of being LGBT?
So holistic security it's just big English. Basically, it's the combination of physical security, digital security, and psychosocial security.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, for an LGBT person living in a homophobic society, holistic security is an extreme, or I would say something that is really important and can't be overemphasized or underlooked. And for an LGBT person that is engaging on an online space or an online platform, you have to be extremely careful and you have to know what you're putting out there. You know, I mean, people are getting cyberbullied and getting called out for what they believe in or what their preferences are. For an LGBT person living in Nigeria, holistic security is being safe physically, being safe online, whatever you do, be it social media surfing, be it shopping, you know, and also psychosocial security, meaning your mind, you know, because all these work together. Your mind has to, your mind has got to be sound, your physical space secure, and then your digital space, because if you're compromised in either of these spaces, then the remaining two is compromised.
Sophina, Safe Online is a guide for media practitioners, for individuals. Just tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so safeonline.ng, it's a project I collaborated with Co-Creation Hub to do. So it's more or less a security guide. It provides what they call it, a step down, a whole breakdown on how you can protect yourself. So this both targeted for journalists in the media, human rights activists, you have for NGOs as well, you have for individuals, so like you're a designer, you're a developer, you're just a basic user of technology, but then you need to like know how best to keep yourself safe online. So it's targeted at everybody.
What would some threats be? When you say keep yourself safe, what am I keeping myself safe from?
Okay, as a regular user, I'm sure you have a mobile phone, you have a smartphone.
Yes.
And you're on social media.
Yes.
Okay. So first things first, your device could be hacked. Or your device could also be used to like make withdrawals without even having your ATM card with you. You could also have your social media account, be your Twitter, your Instagram, your Facebook account, all gone in one day without you knowing that. And then you have like your whole identity online has been taken over by somebody else who you don't have an idea about. You could also like, it could also just be in terms of cyber theft. A whole new identity all over again. You have to start building your whole personality all from scratch because now you don't know who you are online and stuff like that. So it's more like all about your devices. It's more your persona online. It's more about getting the whole steps on how you can protect yourself, both physically, both online and offline as well.
You know, what I'm hearing then is that somebody can access, for instance, my social media or my online. Somebody can basically then access my life online. This is very alarming, of course, because you know, LGBT people are online and are looking for digital safe spaces for all sorts of reasons. So let's talk about some of the reasons why LGBT people might feel the need to create a primarily online safe space. What would some of those reasons be?
Well, the most obvious reason I would say for dating, it's not exactly, I would imagine that it's not exactly easy for these people to walk up to someone and say, oh, hi, I think you're cute.
Yes.
So it would be better to do this on a platform that would give you a voice without necessarily putting you in harm's way.
Physical harm.
Yeah, exactly.
So what constitutes a digital safe space? How do I know that a space is safe? And we're going to come back to dating and, you know, for social and romantic interactions. But, you know, I'm online. I've just seen this new site. How do I know that it's safe?
Okay, so there are some like giveaway signs. So let's assume I'm browsing facebook.com, for instance, or I log on to Facebook. So there could be someone who has just cloned facebook.com, and it might not just be Facebook. You might be looking at it like, oh yes, it's Facebook, but they had like you could have triple zeros instead of double zeros on it. But you wouldn't know because you just see a lookalike or a replica of the site. So you could also like just be careful, look at the web address very well, make sure that it's the same facebook.com you're aware of. Also look at the URLs. URLs are like those google.com now, for instance. You have to check if it has like a padlock sign on it. So sometimes people just browse and then they put all their sensitive information on the website. But you know that it doesn't have a padlock, it doesn't have HTTPS enabled on the site. So meaning your whole information could be somebody else on the back end could just be looking at it and seeing what you're putting into it. So assuming I put my whole, let's say 16-digit card now or my CVV number into that website, it means that somebody else has like the whole physical thing on his own laptop. So he's looking at everything you're typing and you're putting into your keyboards. He's like mirroring everything you do face to face, but on his own system. So you also want to look like, okay, let's say you want to, how do you want to recognize safe spaces? You want to look at, does it provide anonymity? We talked about that one time. Does it make you feel safe and comfortable? Whatever I post now, is it going to be 5 years or 10 years from now? Would they link it back to me? Is it something that I know that if I'm giving away so much information or anything, there's no way it's going to be traced back to my house address or my profile as Sophina right now. So it could be, I could be using a pseudonym. So for instance, a platform should be able to like provide you the options of having an alias without you having to give your phone number or your real email addresses.
But that's also an issue because, and I took note of that. We're going to go to that when you talked about romance or social interactions, because the people who are organizing or creating these safe spaces also are afraid. And they also want to protect the security of the other people that are there. So they will often say, you know, we need to know who you really are. So where is the sweet spot? Where's the balance? What's a good balance?
Well, I think for the society that we're in right now, I would say the balance that I know is in existence still is vouching.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, it's still, if we're talking about anonymity, then I can't just Google you and say, oh, this person wants to, and then I say, it's Oppo. Obviously, they're only going to give me the information that you put out there.
Yes.
Now, not the information that I'm looking for about you.
Makes sense, makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, unfortunately, for the society that we're still in, vouching seems to be the only, balance that we can get now. But then there are other ways. I mean, if all this, if the providers of these spaces have some security measures put in place. Like what? Okay, so we were thinking, we were actually talking about this some days ago, and we were saying that, first, for instance, imagine there was a platform on Facebook where these people meet. Now, how can I get in without, what if I'm just new to the society? What if I just came back and I'm looking to meet people? Yes. So there should be, first of all, a test or like a preliminary test that would find, it's supposed to be a balance between who are you, what are you looking for. This provides, it gives an insight to the kind of person that you're. It's supposed to be a bit of a mind question, like qualitative, qualitative and not quantity. So these questions or preliminary assessments can be done so that I can just log online to your platform, take the question and then send it, submit it and send it back to the back end, who obviously goes through it and says, okay, I pass or I qualify, or okay, this person is a member of the community and you can step in. Because I'm guessing that it's not every time that we get people or that people can get other people to vouch for them.
True. I know that many groups, online groups, are closed groups. And that also plays a part, and like you said, vouching works. Now, as an LGBT person, how much information is too much information online? In context of identity, how much information is too much? So you're on this site and they're asking for these. At which point should a red light begin to blink in my head?
Once the person starts asking for too, very sensitive or confidential information that you shouldn't be getting on the first day, like, why would you want to know probably how many siblings I have, or like what area I live? I already told you, okay, I stay in Lagos. Why would you want to tell me where exactly in Lagos do you stay? Or you tell me, oh, okay, let me get your number, or let's say we're chatting on a site that doesn't really say give you the ability to use my phone number, and I say, okay, let's chat here because I'm more comfortable here. I don't want to share so many details. I'm gonna give you my number and come and start stalking me a few days later. So let's just stay here. But oh no, I want to share you an image and let's go up to WhatsApp, or let's go somewhere else where I can access you every single now. No, I'm no. So they're these very things that just give a red flag, and then sometimes you can also counter it back. You can ask the person to do something in real time, which is what I do frequently. Ask the person to oh, take a picture by the fridge, or do something, point at the clock, or whatever random thing, just to know if they're out to catfish you or they're out to get you. And so say, oh, that's actually a fake profile. If you're not going to do that thing in real time, let's say within 1 to 10 seconds or 1 to 20 seconds when I ask you to do it, then I'm oh, no, okay, no, I'm not going to share more information with you. I'll just block you and move on to the next person to chat with.
I'm at the point where I'm beginning to seriously consider deleting a lot of my social media. Just hearing you're talking about catfishing, these are things people don't ordinarily think of, I mean, catfishing for a heterosexual person probably carries so much less risk than for an LGBT person. So there's an online digital space, there's a little community. How can the administrators, what are some things the administrators of those communities can do to keep the people within safe? What are some ways that they can protect the people in those communities? I hear you on not bringing in people without being personally vouched for. But are there any other ways that administrators can keep the community safe?
I know for instance, there are some sites, some platforms that provide some, they provide verification, do some kind of extra verification processes for people who come onto the platform. So they take you to take real-time photos of yourself before you you sign up. But the platform also they go on, take it a step further, so providing ways for you to report somebody So let's say you spot a fake profile, for instance, and you're like, this person has actually been maybe duping people or like blackmailing them, things like that. They give you a way you can like report them instantly, and then they can be suspended or they can be banned. But we can also suggest that, let's say for instance, Instagram is like everybody's almost on Instagram, and everybody shares photos of themselves wherever you are. But what if you had like a way where you make a comment called a lady a slut, for instance, and then Instagram has like an algorithm that is able to like take it down, triggers it, and like takes all those words out, so that the person is not triggered by those words and like goes to commit suicide or starts having some kind of trauma out of the words that the person has been receiving daily. So these are things that we're still thinking the platform will still like come to adopt in future. But I know they still have like methods for reporting harassment and reporting and what they call it, hate speeches and all, but hopefully it gets better. So there's verification actually we are doing right now, and then the platforms for you to like report things and go on. But hopefully we have like more solutions.
So an LGBT person meets someone in one of these groups, they hit it off, they're talking, they're hanging out, and then it comes to, let's take this offline. What are some things to be aware of? What are some ways to keep safe?
Well, first of all, I would say for when online and offline are two different worlds.
Very different.
Very separate
very
worlds.
Different, yes.
And when you're taking something from the net to real time, I always say first things first, don't meet in the night. Go during the day. Have enough daylight on your side so that if you decide to abort mission, you still have daylight to live. When you go in the night, you put yourself in a precarious situation. Precarious situation. And I mean, at this time, you have little or no daylight to you, and our society is not safe anymore. And then also meet in a public with a lot of people. Don't go to, I mean, you can do movies. You go to the eatery, go to a public place where there are a lot of people. I mean, there's still time to take it back home. But for now, we're trying to vet. We want to know if this person is, even taking it forward, or is this person posing a threat to me? So I always say, do public. Have daylight on your side. Very important. And lastly, we also like to tell people to tell their best mates where they're headed.
Tell somebody where you're going to.
Exactly.
And I think apps as well, they provide these features already. Like for WhatsApp, you have this share live location feature.
Yes.
So if let's say I'm going to the mall or wherever for the first time to meet someone who I've never seen before, I don't even know what he or she looks like.
Yes.
So I'll probably like turn on my share live location.
Is it safe to meet someone whose face you've never seen before? I mean, you said that you're like, we've never seen, but I mean, I should ask for a photograph at least, right?
We're assuming that even if they're sending you photos, for instance, they've sent you photos, like say for the next 3 months, they probably have gone to somebody's profile on Instagram and probably downloaded like 10 of these images and kept sending to you for over time without you knowing that that's not actually who the person looks like. Wow. So you go to the meeting and you find out you're seeing somebody totally different, and now you're going to meet the person for lunch. But if you have someone, let's say your live location is basically turned on, even if you're going, let's say, to the next house or whatever, your friend knows where you're actually going to at that point in time. Even when you stop the location, you know that this was the last point they saw you, and they could start making investigations or anything if you should go missing or if you get lost. So I think people can pretend to be whoever for 1 year without you knowing. So you're meeting the person for the next day and saying, you're not the same person I thought I was chatting with. It could go south, it could go north. So you just want to be careful.
So an LGBT person gets in touch with you in a panic because let's say maybe they had gotten to know somebody and they'd given like their information, personal information and so on. And now they've realized, maybe I was catfished and I'm worried, or I'm afraid that I'm at risk, physical risk. What are some steps that they can take to ease that situation as much as possible and to protect themselves?
Okay, so normally I probably like classify it into two things. So you talk about physical and then you want to talk about online. So let's say you're online now and you realize, I've been catfished or somebody has found my whatever. you probably want to like change your whole account, so you want to change your user IDs to like, so if somebody screenshots the whole conversation, they probably not see your name as the person who had a conversation with the person.
That's a good one.
you want to like, so if your account was hacked now, you probably want to change your passwords as well, knowing that you don't want them to get access to the same account. Speak to Facebook to recover your account if it was, let's say you've been hijacked and all. You also want, if you're not tech savvy as well, you can also reach out to organizations that have like security persons like us to like help you get back to speed with your account, or help you bring your, what they call your Facebook account back, or try to even maybe put your photos on private so the person doesn't even have access to your photos anymore, and hide things that you probably want to keep personal. So for physical safety, you want to like, we'll probably want to like a risk assessment or physical assessment of things that you normally do on a regular day. So let's say you wake up in the morning from 9 o'clock, where are the places you normally visit, where your threat lie, from there you can now find ways that we can mitigate them. So if, let's say if you're going to a store, the first thing you do in the morning is to go and get coffee from this nearby store. That's probably where your risk is going to be, and that's where you're most vulnerable. So you want to like know who is behind you, you want to look behind you and see who is following you. If you see strange faces, call for help, call the number, TS toll-free lines and all of that. And yeah, I think Oma has like more things to share.
Do you have any other tips?
Well, Sophina has basically said everything, and we advise that you should take time off. Like because I mean, when your physical space is compromised, a lot of us are not opportune, or we're not financially buoyant to just move out of our initial living space. So you have to take time off, stay away. Hopefully you have someone that you can go and stay with, somewhere else that is. You just need to get away from that zone, from that physical space, because I mean, whoever is out for you is probably hiding somewhere, waiting for you, or has spies around. So coming back and going away from that place, even if you change your routine, it doesn't really cut it. So you know, we always advise that you leave that physical space for a period of time.
We're becoming more and more aware of the sometimes dysfunctional relationship between being online and mental health. For an LGBT person, what are some things they need to just have in the back of their mind, especially maybe somebody who's out, or somebody who's outspoken about advocating for LGBT people? What are some things where you should just be like, okay, I should expect so and so things to happen?
Cyber trolling and bullying. Because I mean, we all got opinions, everybody.
And everybody feels entitled.
So you should expect that for every time you're preaching your message, there's going to be pushbacks. People are going to have to say, oh, you can't bring this to Nigeria. I mean, this is un-African. So expect that. And always, also for people that have some level of visibility, you know, with their sexuality, they have a lot of physical threats. I think we foresee more physical than digital, because I mean, you're already living and saying, this is who I am. There's really nothing they can blackmail you with anymore. You're the one telling your story, you're controlling your narrative. But now they can look for you. There's a lot of things happen, mob action. We hear stories of people get beaten, people get, somebody will wait for, you know, police, somebody arranges with some state actors or law enforcement, they hold you somewhere and just harass you. You know, so you need to be careful where you go to. You don't just go anywhere, because believe it or not, your visibility is already a threat to you, you know, especially in this society. So, and apart from the places that you go to, you have to be wary of the things that you put out there, most importantly. Because
so be conscious.
You have to really be self-conscious, because yes, you're living your truth, but then you're still living in a homophobic society.
So, you know, avoiding maybe putting out information that could put you at physical risk.
Yes. Don't. I mean, if you have a partner or something, don't go posting your pictures.
Them.
You just keep it to yourself.
Also, unless they both feel like they're willing to be out there, in which case they will now contact one of you for a security assessment.
Okay, well, you can put, I mean, there's really nothing wrong with posting pictures of two people sitting smiling. But if you're going to post pictures, intimate pictures of yourself.
Intimate pictures.
Intimate pictures, and we strongly advise against that.
One of the things that struck me about this is that sometimes people will post very intimate pictures of themselves within what they believe is a closed, safe space. But there is that risk to always remember that somebody will then take that. Not everybody in that space is a safe person.
Yeah.
So I think it's even something that no matter how private you are, you must be conscious of, the information that you are putting out.
Yeah. We always tell ourselves, like, before you post anything, either on Instagram or Twitter, any tweet at all, just know that it's going into an archive, or like it could be always be there 5, 10 years, 15 years from now. So ask yourself, is this something I want to linger on the internet for the next 10 decades or whatever going forward? So if you know that it's going to something is going to come back to haunt you later in the future, or let's say, for instance, where Kevin Hart made a statement, a homophobic statement, and he's now paying the price for it how many years later. So you have to think back and ask myself, will this tweet haunts me in future? Will this photo I'm posting of my partner or whoever, will it put my family at risk? Even if it's not yourself at risk, but what about your loved ones beside you? You care about them so much to put them at that kind of risk. So those are the kind of questions you want to ask yourself. So your mental health matters a lot. Even if you see a lot of pages that probably are not positive minded, or they don't give you positive vibes, you might unfollow them. You can choose to filter the kind of content you see on your pages. When you want to go about cleaning a lot of not everybody has to see your pages. You can put them on private. You don't have to be a celebrity always. Sometimes you want to take a step backward and let me just
reclaim your mental safe space.
Exactly. So,
and how can the administrators of online spaces ensure that the spaces are safe? And now I'm not just talking about digital security, but for the sake of mental health, because it's a tragedy when you're living in a homophobic world, and then you have a community of people that are your friends, and then somebody now utters something that is triggering or that is traumatic. So how can administrators or creators of these online spaces ensure that these spaces are also mentally safe spaces?
An algorithm be made for trigger languages.
But not all these people can have algorithms now.
No, but if it's an online space,
you can.
You can do that.
Yeah, if it's an online space,
you can make that happen.
Yes. Okay. And then sanctions have to be in place if you use a word that is derogatory or that is not accepted in that platform. Then your accounts get taken back or suspended or something, so that people take this seriously. If it's an inclusive space, then inclusion should be adhered to. And when someone defaults, then they should get
pay the price
sanctioned.
for it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Oma. Thank you, Sophina. You have to say, you guys have terrorized me. I'm just oh my goodness. But awareness is I think, the first step to controlling, your experience online. And it's such an important thing if you're an LGBT person who occupies, online spaces. I know that you want to feel at home with people who, understand you and who get you, but you must remember that there are risks, and you must do your best to mitigate those risks. Don't give information that you don't have to give. Be careful about protecting your physical identity. Don't give physical, your address or your phone number, unless you are 100% sure of where that information is ending up. Be careful not to post revealing pictures in forums like that, because you don't know where those pictures are going. I know that there are risks everywhere, but if we're careful and we all play our part as administrators of online spaces, as the people who use these online spaces, then I think we can do a good job about making sure that digital security is a norm for everyone who uses digital spaces. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aritopo, and bye-bye. In 2018, there were over 200 reported hate crimes against LGBT people in Nigeria. Now, these were crimes carried out by fellow citizens, individuals who felt empowered to carry out acts of hate against another human being simply because of their sexuality.
They came down from the bus with guns and they had their uniform. So they asked me to bring out my ID card, which I did. And one of them said I was looking like a lady in my ID card.
I didn't remember to be scared. I just pictured the end. I tried to imagine how this tragedy was already going to play out.
So the boy was trying to escape, but it was too late. They dragged him back, they started beating him, everything. At the end of the day, I don't know where they take him to.
Now, there's certain fundamental rights that every Nigerian citizen is entitled to. The right to privacy, the right to life, the right to freedom of association and assembly. Actually, hold that. Because LGBT people in Nigeria have that last right, the right of freedom to assembly and association, severely limited.
Is there ways in which we use legal structures and violence and oppression to determine someone's ability to live fully?
I think this is why we're here, to increase people's knowledge of their rights.
So I'm very happy to know that the statistics, the data is showing that perceptions are changing, that people are becoming more aware of the real life implications of these laws. Because I think when people don't understand that these laws affect people on a day-to-day basis, then they're less likely to care. So I'm really happy.
Change is coming. It's slow. It's taking a while, but it will surely come.
None of us is free until all of us are free. This is how we can have a more inclusive and a more diverse society. My name is Ari Topo. Thank you for watching.